Well, the last time Twin Ports nurses were negotiating, thousands worked off contract for nearly 6 months and took part in a 3-day strike.
In Northern News Now's Madison Green joins us in studio to tell us how it looks like we are now one step closer to repeating history.
MNA nurses voted yes to authorize an unfair labor strike in the Northland, just 6 days before contracts expire on June 30th. Minnesota Nurses Association leaders announced the strike vote results Tuesday morning, 2 months after union negotiations with Aspire St. Luke's and Essentia St. Mary's began.
Not only do they not want to provide safer staffing ratios, they want to move us backwards.
Chris Rubesh, president of the MNA, cited removing materials from union bulletin boards and benefits from their current contracts. He believes hospital leaders have not been open.
Just saying no or telling my colleagues and I don't hold out hope, that's not negotiating, right? I could sit with you 100 times, and if that's all you're doing, I don't believe that's negotiating.
Meanwhile, Essential leaders say they provided the MNA with a full contract proposal at the first negotiation session and waited until the 8th to receive one in return, which is in violation of their current contract.
We have responded to the MNA's proposals in a very timely manner. We have waited at some point several weeks for responses. I think if we have, quality, productive time at the table, if we have prompt responses, I think it can really change how long this will take.
Both Essentia and St. Luke's say they have arrangements for replacement nurses just in case. St. Luke's saying in a statement the vote is, quote, entirely dishonest and without merit, adding the strike in 2022 resulted in fractured relationships. Remember, there currently is no planned strike for the nurses, and if they were to call for one, they need to give the hospitals a 10-day notice to allow them to plan.
All right, Madison, thank you. Essentia and the MNA have their 10th and final scheduled negotiation session tomorrow. Back in 2022, it took 26 meetings before reaching a deal.